You're watching Dark Terror Files, where the stories aren't just told, they linger. Where are you listening from? Alone in your room, driving through the dark. Drop a comment. I want to know who's out there. My name is Lucas Harlan. I'm 42 years old, and if you're listening to this, I'm either dead or worse. This recording is my confession, my warning, maybe my last shot at making sense of what happened down here. I'm sitting in a concrete chamber 200 feet below Arlington, Virginia, in a place that shouldn't exist. The air smells like rust and something older, something that makes your skin crawl, like it's watching you. My hands are shaking, but I've got to get this out before it's too late. There were 6 rules. The 6th wasn't a rule. It was a sentence. I was the last guard at the Vatican's auxiliary vault, a mirror of their demon archive in Rome. They called it containment. They lied. The vault wasn't built to keep things in, it was built to keep something out. And I failed. I failed because I broke the final rule. The one they only tell you when you're the last one left. I'm recording this on a burner phone, uploading it to a dark web forum at 3:17 a.m., July 4th, 2095. If this gets out, someone might piece it together. Someone might stop it. But I doubt it. The door opened itself, and I was too weak to close it. It started with a sound, not a bang. Not a scream, just a low hum, like a heartbeat in the walls. I was doing my rounds, checking the locks on the 25 cells. Each one held something alive, something that shouldn't be. Cell 26 was different. It was always locked, always empty, marked nulla persona no one. That night, as I passed it, the hum stopped. The air went heavy, like I was drowning in it. Then I heard it. A click, soft and deliberate. From cell 26's lock, I froze. The override panel lit up green. Unprompted. No one was in the control room. No one was on this level but me. I reached for my sidearm, a Glock 17, standard issue from my army days. My pulse was steady, training kicks in when fear tries to take over, but my gut knew something was wrong. I checked the security feed on my tablet. The camera showed cell 26's door, still closed, still sealed. But I swear I saw it move, just a fraction, like it was breathing. I should have walked away. Rule 5. Never inquire about cell 26. But I didn't. I stood there, staring at the door. And that's when I heard my name. Not from the cell, not from the speakers, just in my head. Clear as day. Lucas. My mother's voice. Dead 10 years. I don't believe in ghosts. I don't believe in demons. But I believed that voice. And that's what broke me. That's what started it all. The door didn't open me. I opened it. 6 months earlier, I was a nobody. Just another washed-up vet scraping by in D. Silly. I'd left the Army Rangers after a bad call in Kabul civilian casualties. Faces I still see when I close my eyes. After that, I bounced around private security gigs for Blackwell Corporation, a defense contractor with more secrets than employees. They paid well, but the work was dirty, guarding CEOs who sold weapons to both sides of wars I'd fought in. I was done with it. Drinking too much, sleeping too little. When Bishop Daniel Cortez found me, he didn't look like a bishop. No robes, no cross, just a lean guy in a black suit, maybe 50, with eyes that cut through you. We met at a diner off 14th Street. The the kind with cracked vinyl booths and coffee that tastes like regret. It was January, cold enough to see my breath, and I was nursing a hangover when he slid into the seat across from me. He had my file military record, psych eval, even my discharge papers. I didn't ask how he got it. Blackwell had taught me not to ask questions. "Mr. Harlan," he said, voice smooth like a preacher but sharp like a lawyer. "You're a man who follows orders, even when they don't make sense. That's why I'm here." He pushed a manila envelope across the table. Inside was a contract, Vatican letterhead, and a number with too many zeros. $2 million for 1 year of work. I laughed, thinking it was a scam. He didn't smile. "You won't be guarding people," he said. "You'll be guarding containment." I asked what that meant. Drugs, weapons, dirty money. He leaned forward, and his eyes didn't blink. "You'll know when you need to. Sign, and you're in. Walk away, and you'll never hear from us again." I thought about my empty apartment, my empty bank account, the nightmares that woke me up screaming. 2 million could buy a lot of silence. I signed. They blindfolded me for the drive. Standard protocol for black sites. I figured the van smelled like incense and motor oil, and the ride was long, maybe an hour, maybe 2. When they took the blindfold off, I was standing in front of St. Dominus Basilica in Arlington, a squat, unremarkable church I'd driven past 100 times without noticing. The bishop led me inside, past pews and stained glass, to a steel door behind the altar. It looked like a bank vault, with a biometric scanner that read his palm. An elevator opened, and we descended. No sound but the hum of cables and my own heartbeat. I didn't know it then, but I was already in too deep. When the doors opened, I saw the vault for the first time. A concrete maze lit by flickering LEDs, air thick with something that wasn't just dust. There were no crosses, no holy relics, just cameras, motion sensors, and rows of steel doors, each with a number. 25 cells, all locked. The 26th was different, sealed with no window, no keypad, just that Latin phrase, nulla persona. I asked what was inside. Cortez didn't answer. He just handed me a tablet with the rules and said, "Follow them, and you'll survive." I didn't believe in survival anymore. I just wanted the money. That was my first mistake. The elevator doors hissed shut behind me, and the air changed like stepping into a cave where something had died long ago. I was 200 feet below St. John, Dominus Basilica, standing in a concrete corridor that stretched into shadows. The vault wasn't what I expected. No incense, no candles, no priests chanting prayers, just cold steel, blinking LEDs, and a hum in the walls that made my teeth ache. I'd guarded black sites before arms depots in Iraq, data centers in Virginia, but this felt different. It wasn't just secure, it was alive. The corridor was lined with 25 steel doors, each a foot thick, numbered 1 to 25 in stark black stencil. Each had a small observation window, frosted over, and a biometric keypad glowing faintly red. Cameras watched from every angle, their lenses glinting like eyes. At the far end, Cell 26 stood apart, its door seamless. No window, no keypad, just that Latin phrase etched in the metal, nulla persona, no one. The air around it felt heavier, like it was pulling me in. I took a step back, my boots echoing too loud in the silence. Father Elias, my Vatican handler, walked me through the layout. He was a wiry man, maybe 60, with a Boston accent and a limp he didn't explain. Each cell holds an entity, he said, like he was briefing me on inventory. They're not human. They're not dead. They're contained. I asked what that meant, bioweapons. Experiments. What? He gave me a look like I'd asked about God's social security number. Your job is to keep them that way. Check the locks. Monitor the feeds. Log anything they say. Don't think too hard about it. I didn't believe in demons. I'd seen enough evil in Afghanistan men blowing themselves up. Kids caught in crossfire to know it didn't need horns or a pitchfork. But standing there, I felt something. Not fear. Not yet. But a pressure. Like the vault was sizing me up. The hum in the walls pulsed. Faint but steady. Like a heartbeat. I checked my tablet. Security protocols. Camera feeds. And a list of 5 rules. Elias pointed to cell 1. Start your rounds. Don't linger. He limped back to the elevator, leaving me alone with the hum and the doors. I walked the corridor, checking each lock. The keypads blinked green, all secure. But every few steps, I swore I heard something, a whisper, a scratch, a breath behind the steel. I told myself it was the ventilation, just air moving through old pipes. But when I passed cell 26, the hum stopped. Dead silence. My reflection in the door's polished surface looked wrong, too pale, eyes too wide. I turned away fast, my hand on my Glock. I didn't look back. That first night, I sat in the control room, a glorified closet with monitors, a desk, and a coffee machine that smelled like burnt rubber. The tablet Elias gave me had a file labeled Protocol. I opened it, expecting standard security stuff, patrol schedules, breach procedures, maybe a map. Instead, it was 5 rules, typed in cold, clinical text, like they were carved in stone. Never speak unless spoken to by an entity. Never look through the cell's observation glass. Never enter a cell alone. Log every word the entities speak, no matter how trivial. Never inquire about cell 26. I read them twice, my jaw tightening. Rules like these weren't security, they were superstition. The kind of thing you'd hear in a ghost story, not a Vatican black site. I'd followed orders my whole life, from boot camp to Kabul. But these felt different. They weren't about control. They were about survival. I leaned back in the chair, the monitors flickering with grainy feeds of empty corridors. The hum was louder here, vibrating through the desk into my bones. Elias called over the radio, his voice crackling. Memorize them. Harlan. They're not suggestions. I asked why no context, no explanation. He didn't answer. The line went dead, and the hum filled the silence. I started typing the rules into my personal log, a habit from my army days. Writing kept me grounded. But as I typed Rule 5, my fingers hesitated. Cell 26. I'd already felt it watching me, like a predator behind glass. I shook it off, told myself it was just a job. $2 million. Keep your head down. Follow the rules. Get out. The first shift was quiet. Too quiet. I walked the rounds every hour, checking locks, scanning biometrics. The keypad stayed green. The cameras showed nothing but concrete and steel. but the hum never stopped. And neither did the feeling I wasn't alone. Around 2 a.m., I heard a sound from cell 11, a low murmur, like someone talking in their sleep. Rule 4. Log every word. I pulled up the audio feed on my tablet, expecting gibberish. Instead, it was a voice, clear and calm, speaking English with an accent I couldn't place. The nails were iron. The cross was cedar. Dismas screamed louder than Gestas. I froze. Dismas and Gestas, the thieves crucified with Jesus. I wasn't religious, but I'd heard the stories growing up. The voice kept going, describing the crucifixion like it was there, down to the smell of blood and sweat. I logged every word, my hands steady but my pulse racing. When it stopped, I checked the camera. Cell 11's door was locked, the glass dark. I wanted to look through it, to see what was inside. Rule 2 stopped me. I stepped back, my boots loud against the concrete. The hum in the walls answered, louder now, like it knew I was listening. 3 weeks into the job, I found Marcus's journal. It was tucked behind a loose panel in the control room, wedged between cables like someone meant to hide it. The cover was worn leather, stained with what looked like coffee or blood. Marcus was the guard before me, the one Elias mentioned in passing during orientation. He didn't last, was all he said, his eyes dodging mine. I'd assumed burnout, maybe PTSD. I'd seen it before in guys like me, vets who carried too much and broke under the weight. But when I opened that journal, I knew it wasn't just burnout. The pages were filled with tight, frantic handwriting, like Marcus was racing to get it all down. Dates, times, observations, standard log stuff at first. Then it got weird. Cell 11 knows my wife's name. He wrote on June 12th, 2024. She's been dead 6 years. But it spoke in her voice. Said she forgave me for the accident. I didn't log it. I couldn't. I stopped reading, my stomach twisting. I'd heard Cell 11's voice too. That calm recitation of history no one should know. But this was different. Personal. I flipped to the last entry, dated a week before I started. The hum isn't the vents, it's them. They're in the walls, in my head. Cell 26 isn't empty, it's waiting. Below it, a single line, scratched so hard it tore the paper. We're not locking them in. They're locking us. I closed the journal, my hands cold. Marcus had hanged himself outside cell 26. Elias told me that much. Left a noose dangling in the corridor, right in front of that seamless door. I hadn't seen it myself, but the image stuck with me, his body swaying in the dark, the hum swallowing his last breath. I should have turned the journal over to Elias. Rule 4. Log everything. Hiding it was a breach, but I slipped it into my jacket instead. Something about Marcus's words felt like a warning meant for me. That night, during rounds, I lingered outside cell 26. The hum was louder there, pulsing like a heartbeat. I pressed my ear to the door, breaking Rule 5 without thinking. Nothing, just silence so deep it felt like drowning. Then, faint but clear, a whisper. Lucas. Not my mother's voice this time. It was mine, like an echo from a dream. I stumbled back, my Glock half drawn before I caught myself. The camera above me whirred, watching. I didn't log that either. Father Elias showed up unannounced a week later, his limp more pronounced, like the vault was wearing him down too. He wasn't alone. A man in a tailored suit, no older than 30, followed him Vatican brass. I guessed. Though he didn't introduce himself, they met me in the control room, the monitors casting their faces in pale light. Elias looked nervous, his fingers twitching around a rosary I hadn't seen before. The suit didn't speak, just watched me with eyes that didn't blink. "We need to talk about the vault," Elias said. His Boston accent clipped. "You've been here long enough to feel it." I didn't answer. I'd felt plenty the hum, the whispers, Marcus's journal burning a hole in my locker, but I wasn't about to admit it. Elias leaned forward, his voice low. "This place isn't just a prison. It's a mirror. Rome has the original, built under St. Peter's centuries ago. This one, here in Virginia, is its shadow." I frowned, trying to keep up. "A mirror for what?" The suit spoke for the first time, his voice smooth, almost too perfect. "Rome fell once. We won't let it fall again." He didn't elaborate, but his words hung heavy, like a threat wrapped in a prayer. Elias cut in, glancing at the suit like he was scared of him. "The entities here, they're not just threats. They're assets, studied, contained, preserved. The U. So, vault was built to share the burden. I didn't buy it. I'd worked for Blackwell Corp long enough to smell a cover story. "Why America?" I asked, leaning back in my chair. "Why not keep it all in Rome?" The suit smiled, thin and sharp, like he'd been waiting for the question. "Because power isn't safe in one place. Not this kind." He didn't say more, and Elias hustled him out before I could press. But later, alone, I found a file on the server, buried in encrypted folders Marcus must have cracked before he died. It was a DARPA memo, dated 1962, authorizing funds for Project Seraphim, a joint Vatican-U. So, operation to study non-human intelligences under St. Dominus. Blackwell Corp was named as a contractor. The file cut off mid-sentence, like someone had deleted the rest. That night, the hum in the walls changed. It wasn't just a pulse anymore. It was a rhythm, like a chant I couldn't quite hear. I checked the feeds, the locks, the logs. Everything was green. But when I passed cell 11, the voice spoke again, unprompted. "Rome keeps what it fears. America keeps what it wants." I logged it, my hands shaking. Then I heard it again. Not from the cell, but from behind me. "Lucas, what do you want?" I spun. Glock raised, but the corridor was empty. The hum laughed, and I knew I was in deeper than I'd ever been. I started dreading cell 11. The other cells were quiet, too quiet, like they were holding their breath. But 11 wouldn't shut up. Every night, around 3 a.m., it spoke, its voice slipping through the audio feed like it was sitting next to me. It wasn't loud, wasn't angry. It was calm, precise, like a professor giving a lecture no one asked for. But the things it said, they weren't just stories. They were secrets, the kind that make you question everything. I was on my rounds, the hum in the walls steady as ever, when cell 11 started again. Jerusalem, 33 AD, it said. Clear as a news report. Pontius Pilate washed his hands at dawn. The water was cold, drawn from a cistern under the praetorium. He didn't look at the crowd when he sentenced the Nazarene. I froze, my tablet glowing in the dark corridor. Rule 4. Log every word. I typed it out, my fingers stiff, trying to ignore how the voice seemed to linger in my head after the feed went silent. It wasn't just the details, it was the way it said them. Like it was there, watching the blood pool under the cross. The next night, it got worse. Vatican, 1099, it said. A council met in secret. 9 men in a chamber beneath St. Peter's. They voted to keep the demons alive, to study them, to use them. The vote was 7-2. I stopped breathing. The Vatican studying demons. I'd seen enough in Afghanistan to know power doesn't care about morality. But this was something else. I logged it. But Marcus's journal flashed in my mind. They're not locking them in. They're locking us. I started wondering if Cell 11 wasn't just a prisoner. Maybe it was a witness. Then it spoke to me directly. Lucas, it said, soft, almost kind. The church doesn't destroy evil. It collects it. You're not a guard. You're a curator. My Glock was in my hand before I realized I'd drawn it. The corridor was empty, the camera above Cell 11 blinking red. I wanted to look through the glass, to see what was talking. But Rule 2 stopped me. Never look through the glass. My reflection in the frosted window looked wrong, too thin, too pale, like I was already half gone. I backed away. The hum in the walls louder now, mocking me. That night, I didn't sleep. I kept hearing my name, not from the feed, but from the dark corners of the control room. It was a Tuesday, 2 months into the job, when Cell 13 broke me. I was in the control room, sipping coffee that tasted like ash, staring at the monitors. The feeds were normal, empty corridors, green lights on every lock. The hum was there, as always, but it felt heavier, like a storm building. I was rereading Marcus's journal, his last entry about Cell 26 looping in my head. When the intercom crackled, not the usual static, this was a voice, small and scared, calling my name. Luke, help me. They're coming. I dropped the mug. It shattered on the concrete floor, coffee pooling like blood. That voice, it was mine, from when I was a kid, maybe 10 years old, crying for my dad after a nightmare. I hadn't heard it in 30 years, but I'd know it anywhere. My hands were shaking as I checked the audio feed. It was coming from Cell 13. I pulled up the camera. The door was locked, the glass dark, no movement. But the voice kept going, louder now, pleading. Luke, they're here. Don't let them take me. I don't believe in demons. I kept telling myself that as I grabbed my Glock and ran to the corridor. The hum was deafening, vibrating through my boots. Cell 13's keypad glowed green, but the override panel was flashing red, like it was waiting for me. Rule 3, never enter a cell alone. I didn't care. That voice was my voice, my fear, my past. I punched in the override code, my fingers moving on muscle memory. The door hissed, unlocking. But before I could pull it open, the intercom screamed a high-pitched wail that wasn't human, wasn't me. I stumbled back, ears ringing, and aimed my Glock at the speaker above the door. I fired twice, the shots echoing like thunder in the vault. The speaker sparked and went silent, wires dangling like veins. My heart was pounding, but I forced myself to check the tablet. The audio log was still recording. I played it back, expecting to hear that child's voice again. Instead, it was something else. low and guttural, like it was speaking through gravel. "Lucas, you already opened it." I checked the camera feed. Cell 13's door was still locked. The override panel dark. No breach, no movement. But my reflection in the frosted glass showed something behind me. A shadow, tall and thin. Gone when I turned, I swept the corridor with my flashlight. My Glock steady in my other hand. Nothing. Just the hum, laughing now, like it knew something I didn't. I logged the incident, but I didn't write what I felt. That Cell 13 hadn't just mimicked me. It had reached inside me, pulled out something I'd buried long ago. And whatever it wasn't locked up anymore. I wasn't sleeping anymore. The vault wouldn't let me. Every time I closed my eyes in the control room, the hum in the walls turned into voices mine. My mother's, my squad leader in Kabul shouting orders before the explosion that ended my career. I'd wake up gasping, my hand on my Glock, the monitors staring back like they were waiting for me to crack. I was starting to think Marcus didn't hang himself. Maybe the vault did it for him. It was late, maybe 4 a.m. When I met the janitor, I was on my rounds, the corridor dim under flickering LEDs. When I saw him, a hunched figure in gray coveralls, mopping the floor near cell 15. He wasn't on the roster. I'd never seen him before. Not in 3 months down here. His face was lined like old leather, eyes sunken. But he moved with a quiet purpose, like he'd been cleaning these floors forever. I called out, "Hey, who are you?" He didn't look up, just kept mopping, the wet slap of the mop echoing in the silence. I stepped closer, my hand on my sidearm. I said, "Identify yourself." He stopped then, leaning on the mop handle, and turned to me. His eyes were wrong too bright, like they were reflecting light that wasn't there. "You're the last one now, aren't you?" he said, his voice a gravelly whisper, like he hadn't spoken in years. They always tell the last one the 6th rule, the one that ends it all. I froze. The rules stopped at 5. I'd memorized them, burned them into my brain. Don't speak. Don't look. Don't enter alone. Log everything. Don't ask about cell 26. There was no 6th rule. "What are you talking about?" I demanded, my voice sharper than I meant. He smiled, thin and sad, like he pitied me. "They don't tell you until it's too late. The 6th rule, it's not about keeping them in. It's about keeping you." He turned and shuffled down the corridor, toward a dead-end wall where the cameras didn't reach. I chased after him, my boots pounding the concrete. "Hey, stop." But when I rounded the corner, he was gone. No door, no venta, just a blank wall. I checked the security feed on my tablet. Nothing. No janitor. No movement. Just me standing alone, yelling at nothing. The hum in the walls surged, like it was laughing. I went back to the control room, my hands shaking as I pulled up the personnel files. No janitor listed. Not now. Not ever. But in Marcus's journal, tucked in my locker, I found a sketch he'd drawn. An old man in coveralls, holding a mop, standing outside cell 26. Under it, he'd written, "He knows." I stopped trusting the system after that. The cameras, the keypads, the logs, they were supposed to keep me safe, but they felt like part of the trap. Marcus's journal was my only lead, so I started digging deeper, using his old login credentials I'd found scrawled in the margins. The vault server was a maze of encrypted files, but Marcus had cracked enough to leave breadcrumbs. What I found changed everything. It was a DARPA report, buried in a folder labeled Seraphim Archival. The date was 1964, 2 years after the vault was built. It described the vault as a secondary containment matrix, a mirror of Rome's demon archive, but with a different purpose. Rome's vault was about preservation, keeping entities locked away, studying them like relics. The vault was an experiment. The report called it an incubation matrix, designed to amplify non-human intelligences through exposure to human emotional resonance. Guilt, fear, faith, they weren't just weaknesses. They were fuel. I read on, my stomach turning. The entities weren't just prisoners. They were being fed, cultivated, made stronger by the people guarding them. The report mentioned 3 other mirror vaults: Brazil, Russia, Japan, all built in the 60s, all decommissioned after catastrophic containment failures. The details were redacted, but one line stood out. Entities in secondary matrices exhibit accelerated adaptation when exposed to human operatives with unresolved trauma. That hit me like a punch. I'd been chosen for this job because of Kabul, because of the civilians I couldn't save. The guilt I carried like a second skin. They didn't want a guard. They wanted bait. I cross-referenced the files with Marcus's journal. He'd found the same report, circled that line in red ink. Next to it, he'd written, "They're growing. Cell 26 is the key." I didn't know what that meant, but I felt it, the hum in the walls, the whispers, the way Cell 11 knew things it shouldn't. The vault wasn't a prison. It was a farm, and I was feeding the crop. That night, I heard my name again. Not from a cell, but from the air itself, soft and insistent. "Lucas, you're ready." I checked every feed, every lock, all green. But the hum was different now. Not just a pulse, but a rhythm, like a chant building to a crescendo. I didn't log it. I couldn't. Whatever was down here, it wasn't just watching me anymore. It was waiting. I was losing track of time down here. Days blurred into nights, marked only by the hum in the walls and the flicker of the monitors. My shift was supposed to end at 6 a.m., but no one came to relieve me. The other guards, Rodriguez, Kim, a quiet guy named Patel, stopped showing up. No word, no explanation. Just me, alone with the vault and its secrets. I kept Marcus's journal close, rereading his frantic notes, trying to make sense of what he knew before he broke. But it was the facts that pushed me over the edge. It came through at 2:17 a.m. The machine in the control room screeching like it was choking. I hadn't even known the thing worked. Nobody uses fax machines in 2025. The paper was thin, curling at the edges, stamped with a Vatican seal, a cross and keys, no letterhead. The message was short, typed in block letters. Containment compromised. The first is active. Initiate protocol F. I stared at it, my coffee going cold in my hand. The first, protocol F. There was nothing in the server, nothing in the rules, nothing in Marcus's journal about either. I tried radioing Elias, but the line was dead. Just static that sounded too much like whispering. I tore through the server, using Marcus's cracked credentials, searching for anything on the first or protocol F. Nothing. Just dead ends and redacted files. The hum in the walls was louder now, Not a rhythm anymore, but a pulse. Like something waking up. I checked the camera feeds. Every cell was locked. Keypads green. But cell 26's feed was glitching, flickering between static and a shadow that shouldn't have been there. I grabbed my Glock and ran to the corridor. The fax crumpled in my pocket. When I reached cell 26, the door was still sealed. Nulla persona etched in the steel. But the air felt wrong. Heavy, like it was pressing against my chest. I swear I saw the door flex, just for a second, like it was breathing. Back in the control room, I found the fax machine smoldering. Black smoke curling from its guts. The message was gone. The paper burned to ash. I didn't log it. What was the point? No one was coming. No one was listening. But I couldn't shake the words. The first is active. I'd been a soldier, a contractor, a man who followed orders. But this wasn't about orders anymore. This was about survival. And I wasn't sure whose. I don't know why I did it. Maybe it was the hum, pounding in my skull like a second heartbeat. Maybe it was Marcus's journal, his warnings about cell 26 screaming in my head. Or maybe it was the fax. Those words, the first burning through my logic like acid. Whatever it was, I broke Rule 5. I opened cell 26. It was 3 a.m., the deadest hour, when I heard the knocks. Slow, deliberate, matching the pulse in my neck. They came from cell 26, a door that had no keypad, no window, just that Latin phrase mocking me, nulla persona, no one. I'd walked past it 100 times, felt its pull, but I'd never touched it. Tonight was different. The knocks grew louder, each one a hammer against my resolve. I checked the tablet. Cell 26's feed was black. Not static, just nothing. The override panel, which I'd been told was disabled, lit up green, like it was waiting for me. Rule 3. Never enter a cell alone. I didn't care. I punched in the master code, the one Elias had given me for emergencies only. The door hissed, air escaping like a sigh, and opened inward. I expected a cell like the others, bare concrete. Maybe chains, something to justify the rules. Instead, there was just a mirror, old, cracked, its frame carved with symbols I didn't recognize. Maybe Aramaic, maybe older. It stood in the center of a small, empty room. No chains, no markings, just that mirror reflecting the dim light from the corridor. I stepped inside, my Glock raised, my flashlight cutting through the dark. The hum stopped, replaced by silence so thick it hurt. I checked the corners, nothing, just the mirror, its surface cloudy but unbroken. I didn't want to look at it, but I couldn't stop myself. Rule 2, never look through the glass. I broke that one too. My reflection stared back, but it wasn't right. My face was the same, but my eyes were too dark, my jaw too tight, like I was looking at a version of me that had already lost. The air grew colder, and the knock started again, not from the door, but from inside the mirror, each one syncing with my heartbeat. I backed toward the door, my boots scraping the concrete. The hum returned, louder, angrier, like a swarm of wasps trapped in the walls. I didn't know what I'd expected to find in cell 26, but it wasn't this. It wasn't nothing, because that's what scared me most. The nothing was alive, and it knew my name. I shouldn't have looked in the mirror. Rule 2 was clear: never look through the glass. But standing in cell 26, with that ancient mirror staring back at me, I couldn't stop myself. Its surface was cloudy, like it was holding a storm inside, but it pulled me in, like it knew I'd come. My flashlight beam trembled as I stepped closer. The hum in the walls now a low growl, vibrating through my bones. I told myself I was checking for threats, that I was still in control. I wasn't. The vault had me the moment I opened that door. My reflection wasn't mine. It was me, but wrong older, gaunt. My face streaked with blood. My jacket torn like I'd been through a war. Behind me, in the mirror, wasn't the empty cell, but a burning room. Flames licking up stone walls. Bodies scattered across the floor. I recognized the place. It was the vault, but not as it was now. It was ruined, like something had torn it apart. My reflection held a Glock, just like the one in my hand. But its grip was different, desperate. I couldn't look away. Then it spoke, its voice mine but older, broken. You broke the final rule. Now you're part of the cycle. I stumbled back, my flashlight clattering to the floor. The hum surged, a scream in the walls, and the mirror's surface rippled, like water disturbed by a stone. Images flashed cobble, the explosion, the faces of the civilians I couldn't save, their eyes accusing me. My mother, lying in her hospital bed, whispering my name before she died. And then something else, something not mine. A man in a hooded robe, standing in a circle of candles, chanting words that made my head ache. The mirror wasn't just showing me, it was digging into me, pulling out things I'd buried and things I'd never known. I raised my Glock, aiming at the glass, but my reflection didn't move. It just stared, its eyes too dark, too deep. You can't shoot the truth, Lucas, it said. You let it out. Now you have to live with it until it breaks you. I fired, the shot deafening in the small room. The mirror didn't shatter. The bullet lodged in the wall behind it, like the glass wasn't even there. I ran, slamming cell 26's door shut, the override panel locking with a hiss. The hum followed me, louder now, like it was inside my skull. I didn't log what happened. How could I? I'd broken 2 rules in one night, and whatever was in that mirror wasn't done with me. The vault turned on me after that. I don't know if it was cell 26 or my own stupidity, but everything started falling apart. The next night, during rounds, cells 11, 14, and 17 unlocked themselves. No alarms. No warnings, just the soft click of their keypads turning green. I was in the control room when it happened, the monitors flickering as the feeds from those cells went dark. I pulled up the system logs, expecting a glitch, but the code was corrupted. Lines of text replaced with fragments of scripture. Revelation. Backwards, looping like a virus. And the beast was given a mouth to utter blasphemies. I grabbed my Glock and ran to the corridor. The hum was a roar now, shaking the walls. The LEDs flickering like they were about to blow. Cell 11's door was ajar, just an inch, but enough to make my stomach drop. I didn't look inside. Rule 2 was still burned into me, but I heard it. That same calm voice from before, whispering, Lucas, you're late. Cell 14 was worse. Its door was wide open, the room empty except for claw marks gouged into the concrete. Deep and jagged, like something had clawed its way out. Cell 17 was sealed, but its glass was cracked, spiderwebbing from the inside. I checked the roster. Rodriguez, Kim, Patel, they were supposed to be on shift with me. I radioed them, my voice steady despite the panic clawing at my chest. No answer. I searched the vault control room, locker room, elevator shaft. Nothing. No blood. No bodies. Just absence. Their gear was gone. Their lockers empty, like they'd never been here. I was alone. The last one. Just like the janitor said. The cameras watched me, their red lights blinking in sync with the hum, like they were part of it. I tried the elevator, but it was dead. The biometric scanner flashing red. I pounded the emergency override, but the system locked me out. The screen spitting more backward scripture, and the number of the beast. I ran back to the control room, my breath ragged, and checked the server. The biometric logs showed something impossible. Every guard's ID had been overwritten with mine. According to the system, I was the only one who'd ever been here. I sat there, staring at the monitors, the hum now a chant I could almost understand. The vault wasn't just a prison. It was a machine, and I was its last piece. I was out of moves. The vault had swallowed everyone else, Rodriguez, Kim, Patel gone without a trace, like they'd never existed. The hum in the walls was a voice now, not just a sound, whispering my name, my failures, every regret I tried to bury. I sat in the control room, Marcus's journal open on the desk, its pages curling like they were alive. His last words haunted me. Cell 26 is the key. I'd opened it, looked in that damn mirror, and now the vault was unraveling, taking me with it. But it wasn't until I found the sixth rule that I understood what I'd done. It wasn't in the tablet, the server, or any official file. It was in Marcus's journal, hidden in a sketch of Cell 26's door, written in tiny script along the edge. Rule 6. If you're the last, you must seal the vault from the inside. I read it again, my hands shaking, the hum pounding in my skull. Seal it from the inside. It didn't say how, but the meaning was clear. The vault wasn't just a prison for the entities. It was a trap for me. If I died, the doors would open, and whatever was in here would get out. If I lived, I'd be locked in with them forever. I thought about running. The elevator was dead, but there were maintenance shafts, emergency exits. I could break protocol, blow the locks, get to the surface. But Marcus's journal stopped me. He'd written about the other vaults, Brazil, Russia, Japan, all gone silent after their guards tried to escape. They don't let you leave. He wrote, they feed on you. I saw it now. The entities weren't just growing stronger from my guilt, my fear. They needed me to stay, to keep the cycle going. I was the final piece, the last guard, the one who'd opened Cell 26. I made a choice. I pulled out my burner phone, the one I'd smuggled in against protocol, and started recording. My voice was hoarse, barely mine. My name is Lucas Harlan. I'm the last guard at the Vatican's auxiliary vault. If you're hearing this, it's too late for me, but maybe not for you. I told it all the rules, the voices, the mirror, the facts about the first. I uploaded it to a dark web forum, time-stamped 3:17 a.m., July 4th, 2025, hoping someone, anyone, would find it. Then I grabbed my Glock, a crowbar, and a flashlight. I wasn't running. I was going to seal the vault, whatever that meant, even if it took me with it. I don't know how long I've been down here since I made that recording. Time doesn't work right in the vault. The hum stopped after I uploaded the file, replaced by a silence that's worse, like the whole place is holding its breath, waiting for me to make the next move. I'm back in cell 26, standing in front of that mirror again, my Glock's in one hand, the crowbar in the other, but they feel useless. The mirror's surface is still cloudy, still wrong, but it doesn't show me anymore. It shows nothing, just a black void that seems to go on forever. I tried sealing the vault like the 6th rule said. I found a maintenance panel in the control room, a fail-safe switch labeled containment lock. It was supposed to seal every door, cut off the elevator, trap everything inside, including me. I flipped it, heard the bolt slam shut, felt the air get heavier, like the vault was swallowing itself. But when I checked the feeds, the cameras were dead, the keypads were dark. The corridor outside cell 26 was empty, but I swear I saw claw marks on the walls, fresh ones, like something had walked out while I wasn't looking. I carved a message into the control room wall with the crowbar. The first walks free. I don't know why. Maybe I wanted someone to know. If they ever found this place, maybe I wanted to warn them. The mirror in cell 26 is still here, still watching, but it's quiet now. Too quiet. I keep expecting to hear my name, or my mother's voice, or that kid from Kabul begging me to save him. But there's nothing. Just me in the dark. I'm not sure if I'm still alive. The vault feels different, like it's not under Saint Dominus anymore, like it's somewhere else. My phone's dead. The upload's gone, and I don't know if it ever reached the surface. If you're hearing this, maybe you found a copy. Maybe you're down here too. Don't look in the mirror. Don't open cell 26. And if you're the last one left, don't trust the rules. They're not here to protect you. They're here to keep you. I don't know where I am. The vault is gone. Or maybe I'm not in it anymore. I'm standing on a subway platform, the air thick with diesel and sweat. Chicago. I think those red line trains, the clatter of metal, the skyline glowing through the station's mouth. I don't remember how I got here. My jacket's torn. My Glock's gone. But my hands feel heavy, like they're still holding something. People push past me, their faces blurred, their voices muffled. I catch my reflection in a train window. And it's not right. My eyes are too bright. Like the janitors. Like they're reflecting light that isn't there. I step off the platform, out into the city. The streets are alive. Horns blaring, lights flickering. A cathedral looms ahead, its spires cutting into the dusk like knives. I don't know why I'm drawn to it, but my feet move on their own, like they know the way. The hum is back, faint but growing. Not in the walls anymore, but in my chest, my head, my bones. I smile, and it feels wrong. Like it's not my smile. A woman passes me, her eyes meeting mine for a second before she looks away. Quick, like she saw something she shouldn't. I stop outside the cathedral. Its doors open, light spilling out. The hum is louder now, a chant I almost understand. I don't go in. I don't need to. Whatever was in the vault, whatever was in that mirror, it's not locked up anymore. It's here, in me. Or maybe I'm in it. I turn away, the city stretching out like a web, And I know I'm not done. Not yet. The first is free, and I'm carrying it.